Welcome to the red half of Sheffield. It is time again. The reverse fixture in the Steel City Derby. And here back to preview it once again from the Wednesday Week podcast is our boy, Dan. How are you doing on this early evening UK time, mid-afternoon here stateside?
Yes, the Dancing on Ice final is on right now, so found myself a brief respite from that, so that's not too shabby. But appreciate you having me on. I'm glad I've got the right accent for you.
Yeah.
Have you done those? Have you had those on where you get like, we're going to speak to a Derby podcast and they're based in Plymouth or something? I get them a lot.
Yeah. You get them all over. It's funny. I had an interview with a Blackburn supporter and actually lived 5 minutes down the road from Bramall Lane, so it was really weird. It was like, all right, okay, this makes sense.
I actually think I spoke to the same geezer. Actually,
yeah, we probably did. It's a small world. But back again to talk about this derby. How have Wednesday gone on? I know yesterday they pumped Plymouth 3-0, so an impressive win. Again, this is what it's eerily similar to how the first game took place. Played a game at the weekend, have a midweek game again, and then we have the game on a Saturday. This game, it feels like, as we talked about last time, it feels like it needs a whole week worth of buildup, and you're only going to get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then there's the build-up. There's the game actually Sunday. You actually have Saturday, then Sunday, because the game's on Sunday. Your thoughts of how Wednesday's got on?
It's been a mixed bag. We are, take the local derby-ness out of it, and it, we'll look back on this season based on the season prior and go, there's definite improvement there. We're probably going to finish 9, 10, 11, maybe even 14 places higher than where we finished last year. And the middle of the league is absolute insanity. It's like the top three, but there's like 9 teams. Coventry have managed to string a few results together, and they broke into the party, and Sunderland dropped a few. So there's that gap now between yourselves, Leeds, and Burnley. And I think West Brom are knocking on the it's been back to your question. It's been an odd season because we've managed to get some wins, and to add to your diatribe then about diatribe makes it sound so negative. My apologies. To add to your process about the midweek fixture and getting the week out the way, we played Norwich before we played you guys, and we beat them, and we thought, that's the result we need to go into the derby. We've got Norwich tomorrow night, so it's virtually the same. So, so there's many stars and moons have aligned for this game. However, going back to your question once again, our home form has been sketchy. I thought that if we got you back to Hillsborough after the 1-0 back at I think it was November, wasn't it? I felt that if we got you at home, we'd take some points off you. I think, given our home form, we're 23rd in the home form league table, if that's a thing for those who like the stats, and the home form is something of concern, if I'm honest. However, and I said this, a few months ago, last time we spoke, was it's a local derby. Everything goes out the window. Hillsborough's going to be rocking. You guys are going to make that short trip down the road. And, oh, God, I can't wait. It's going to be my first Sheffield derby in a number of years, and I absolutely love them and hate them at the same time.
No, I'm in complete agreement with you. I love and hate this derby just as much because, if we fast forward past midweek, okay, in today, I also recorded a preview pod for Bristol City at the midweek, and it was right off the back of the Leeds loss to Pompey, and I started that podcast off, and I was tripping over myself because I had just watched it finish. I can't believe the greatest team in the history of the world has dropped points away from Ellen Road. That's something I could never fathom. But if we do go and get 3 points on Tuesday night against Bristol City. Then it ramps up the pressure. Not only do you have a derby, virtually we could trail Leeds, but Leeds' result will be in before we play Sunday. So if Leeds drop any points and we have a chance to go top alone by ourselves, the pressure is just going to be on.
I've got to ask though. There is an element though there, Chad, like where you go, does it matter? Like Leeds are very good. Burnley are very good, and yourselves are in that bracket, right? I could sit here and go on a 10-minute rant about parachute payments and all the rest of it, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And if you get in those top 2 spots, I know Burnley are knocking on the door, but if you get in those top 2 spots, at the end of the day, does it matter? Like really, whether you win or come second, you still get promoted to the promised land, right?
Exactly. All coming second does is you just have the Sky pundits make fun of you for getting trophy, which I'm pretty sure everybody that's come second for like the last 10 or 15 years has got a second place trophy. But I mean, no, it doesn't matter. It just means that you're now going to lose 35 or 36 of the next 38 games you play. And in a year you'll be back in this division.
Yeah, I suppose financially it matters in terms of finishing first and second. I get that.
It does, but it just, you have to look at the ownership and are the owners okay? If we get over the line and if we get promoted, are they going to go and spend? Are they going to go and spend 150, 200 million pounds that now it takes? For example, Nottingham Forest, where did they come up? First year spent 200 million pounds to just stay up. And you had to go through that slog of 2 or 3 years where just finishing 17th was good enough. And now look at them. They're third in the freaking league.
Yeah, and bear in mind, right, it can't be pretty to watch, but I'm impressed by Nottingham Forest. They've kind of found this niche of being comfortable without the ball. And when they pick their moment to go forward, they pick it so beautifully well. They're happy to sit on the edge of their 18 and go, yeah, we're all right, this is cool. But, as coming into your game against Bristol City and then into the derby, as it stands right now, you're the form team in the league. Like, you've only lost, if you go to the last 6, you've earned the most points out of anybody else in the last 6. And then Leeds lost today. They drew their game before. There must be a point now where you're thinking, this is their dip. This is where they fall off. This is where we start playing the Joy Division records, right?
Yeah. The whole deal from my end is what's going to inevitably kill us is the -2 points deduction. Thank you, Prince Abdullah, for the -2, because if you take that into a factor and we start on normal points, we're 2 points clear of Leeds, and you're sitting in a totally different mantra, being like, oh, we're top of the league now. We've got we don't have the easiest run in compared to Leeds. Leeds have, if you look at the teams that they play a lot of bottom half teams, and they have the easier running, so you would shade them for the league title. We have the likes of Coventry. We got to play Burnley Wednesday. I mean, even if Wednesday didn't have any wins coming into this game, you'd still be like, well, there's a chance they could lose the derby.
There's always a chance. There's always a chance, or I would be a millionaire every week on Sky Bet, right? You know what I mean?
Exactly. You're exactly right. One question I have for you: the noise about your manager Danny Rowe going to Southampton, is that a real fire that, or a, I guess it's smoldering? Is that something that's going to probably turn into a fire? Whether Southampton, obviously they're not going to stay up, they're going to come back in this division, but is that something where Wednesday are going to have to come to a realization where Danny Rowe may not be in his position come next season?
When this rumor first came about back in December, it was in my head it was just easy journalism. There's a team. Danny used to work there. Easy maths, right? Easy maths, easy, done. And then I don't even think he interviewed for it. However, we know there's a lot of rumblings about Southampton contacting the chairman and saying, can we speak to him? Now, Chancery had wrapped him up in the tightest, shittiest contract, like one of those phone contracts you get on a high street nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Southampton went, we're not paying that, and end up getting Jurich in.
Mhm.
And so look, it's not gone well. And if anything, Southampton have gone backwards since getting their new manager. And once again, these rumours come about again, and they're pretty strong rumours. Don't get me wrong, because Southampton were legitimately interested. On the back of that, what happened 3 weeks later was that Shea Charles was then recalled back to Southampton, and then they charged us again to loan him back again. And then you guys came in to try and scupper the deal. And as much as we'd like to go, that's just them shithousing. He's a great player, and he'd have fitted in really well, right? You know what I mean? If you take the local Derby contingent out of it, the other Sheffield club nonsense out of it, that would have been a good signing for anybody in that league. He's by far and away our best player. So anyway, there's now a rumbling between us and Southampton. Now this rumour's come about again. He said all the right things in the press conference and things like that, but that contract is still there. And there's an element of, when you look at Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth to an extent, they sell and buy and they use their assets in order to bump up their financial clout in order to move up the football pyramid. And we are terrible at that. We're really bad at that. We only need to look at yourselves over the road and look at how many great players your academy has produced over the last few decades, right? You've always had that over us. And I would rather turn ourselves into a business. Now, if Danny Roll wants to go, if we get to the end of the season and it's not too late in the summer and all the the transfer window and open and all the rest of it, then we need to consider it, right? We need to start running like a business. But our chairman, in the decade he's been there, has been notorious for clinging on to what he refers to as assets to the point where they're no good anymore. And there's an element of, if the gaffer has had his head turned, then what do we do about it? Because let's be honest, right? Danny Roll has turned a team that avoided relegation on the last day last season into a mid-table team. Great. Honestly, that's really impressive progression, right? So his name is going to be met, and because he plays that young, fancy, sexy football that everybody seems to like, he's going to be touted around every job that comes up. That's what's going to happen. Would I be surprised? No. Is it something I need to mentally prepare myself? Probably. But we've got this game on Sunday to get out of the way first. So I'm not thinking about it. About it.
Okay. As you lead right into my next question, Sunday, a 12:30 kickoff at Hillsborough. How do you think it goes? Do you think it's as tightly contested as the reverse fixture at Bramall Lane? Like, honestly, probably could have won either way.
The standout player the first game was Harry Sutar. He's a big 8 dimple Lego brick. I mean, what an absolute mountain of a human being he was, and he absolutely ran the show for me from the back. And he's not there anymore, right? So there's part of me that's now thinking, do we have a chance to get him behind? I don't know. You've got some great players there. You've got your Premier League millions, shakes fist, grumble. But I think it becomes more about mentality than quality sometimes in a derby. I think your quality of the players you had shone through back in November, and I was hoping that when we got you to ours in March, we'd give you the same sort of treatment. We'd turn Hillsborough into a cauldron and all those old cliches and things like that. But there's an element of we haven't been rubbish. We've just been average at home. Lots and lots of 1-1 draws. Lots and lots of 1-1 draws. And that wouldn't surprise me if that's the score on Sunday, which we would take. You need that like a hole in the head.
Oh yeah. This is where it's tough, and it's so hard to preview, like, because you hope everybody on both sides, because you want both sides at full strength, and you want both. You don't want anybody missing, and because then it leads to, well, if you get beat, this excuse and this excuse and this excuse. So I hope both teams are at top fitness as both teams can be. No suspensions for yellow cards or no, miscellaneous red cards or whatnot.
I want all of that on the day.
Yeah. But I mean, it just to build it, Wilder will say some stupid shit and get Wednesday fans all riled up, and then it'll lead in about Thursday or Friday of this week. Saturday, the fans will have the full day of championship games to go, and just you have the center stage Sunday afternoon in front of the whole entire continent, and especially over here, because I will definitely have it on. But I just think United coming into this, they need it so bad, and I would take a draw. I would take a draw.
There's an element, because no one's got one-upmanship, and it's away at Hillsborough. I can understand your thinking on that.
Yeah,
you would take a draw, but good Lord, you're 80% in on let's have a win for God's sake.
Exactly.
Right?
As close as it is, and I don't have Leeds fixture list in front of me for who they play at the weekend. But God, if they were to drop points, and the league lead is sitting there right in front of us, all you got to do is go beat your crosstown rivals. Oh my God! And then
they're playing at the same time as we are but they're on the Saturday. They're the early kickoff on the Saturday. Now, this is I was going to mention this early on, because the early kickoff for the big teams notoriously. And there'll be one or two people listening to this nodding in agreement that the early kickoff will fuck anybody's bet across the entire country. You could have Man City versus Barnet, and Barnet would end up doing them 1-0. That's how an early kickoff works. And I'm clinging on to that. I'm clinging on to it. And now you've got Leeds away at QPR on the early kickoff on the Saturday. So you will know your fate. By the time you get 24 hours notice on it, right? So there's an element of you kind of know what's in front of it. It's like batting first at cricket. You know what I mean? Like let's just build up the numbers and see where they go first. They can get bat first. See how that goes.
Yeah, exactly. So it ramps it up even more if Leeds were to drop some points, and then as I mentioned. And then it's there for us. And then you guys can crush our soul by just getting a 1-0 win and being just like pissed back off to the red half of the city. And, take that with your Premier League and shove it. And I don't know, man. This is a tough one. But right now, I don't know. The only thing I'm looking at this game is it's either going to be a 0-0 game, or it's going to be somebody's going to nick it the other side 1-0.
Yeah, I think with a local derby, I think, especially given the proximity of the teams financially and where they are in the league and things like that, I think the best any sensible Wednesday fan can hope for is don't get battered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Losing at your gaff last year, we go, look, we lost. We didn't get battered. You know what I mean? And there's a bit of solace we can take away from that. Albeit, we're still pissed off that we lost, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I tell you what I can't deal with. I can't deal with the shit. I can't deal with the nonsense that comes with it, because, there's videos of our fans and what do they call it? Tragedy chanting, and then there's spitting, and there's rumors of bottles of pee and stuff like that. It's boring. And then there was all that performative nonsense of the police kettling the Wednesday fans in as they walked them in. These are people they work with. These are people's cousins, brothers, dads. You know what I mean? These are mates down the pub. But I feel like when it comes to that game, there's an element of performative. There's a performative element to it. I feel like they all go, yeah, we hate you. Yeah, we hate you at all. And this is how I'm supposed to act for a team I'm told I dislike. You know what I mean? We're the same. We're the same people. We're all the same people from the same city. And I find it absolutely incredible the way some of the shitheads act. And 90% of the people in that ground will have a good time. They will shout, scream, and cheer on their team. But there's always some bellends that think this is how I believe I should act, and it does me head in. I like the back and forth. I like the banter on the socials. That's what it's for, right? That's what we're here for. But when it comes to piss and spit and tragedy chanting. You're like, lads, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Grow the fuck up, please.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Just quit. Just cut the child. Just cut the childish shit out. I mean, there's no room for it. It's 90 minutes. It's 90 minutes game. Just enjoy it, because
come on, right?
If we get promoted, then there's another year that this rivalry doesn't get played. We went, what was it, 7 years since we played it back in November? This is a rivalry that needs to happen. And you can't have a couple of dickheads screw it up for the rest of us. And
no fans.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, South Yorkshire police don't have the best reputation, right? And
exactly.
They would easily go, no fans in the ground for that fixture. And all of a sudden it's a training match. You know what I mean? And we've ruined it, to coin a meme. But then after the game, you know what Chris Wilder's like. Chris Wilder likes to dig, likes of course, likes the back and forth.
Yeah.
But I think I said on my show, the show after the derby, the sausage roll thing wound me up, but not in the way that he meant it. And I want to be very careful on this. I need to make sure I word this correctly, right? There's always this thing with Sheffield Wednesday and Sheffield United that I find quite embarrassing, right? We call them pigs, so they call us pigs. Good banter, lads. Nice one. Everybody's laughing at that one. Great. You know what do you call them? Pigs. What do we call it? Pigs. Good one. All right. All right. We said we're all Wednesday, aren't we? And they said we're all Blades, aren't we? Brilliant. Good banter, lads. You know what I mean? And then, so there's an element of, Chris Wilder in that pub at the end of the, when he was in that boozer at the end of that evening. God, enjoy it, bro. You know what I mean? Enjoy it. You beat your local rivals. It means a lot to you. Have a good time. The issue with him stood in there chanting sausage roll.
Yeah.
The biggest issue I've got, we're funnier than that. We are funny people. We are funnier than sausage bloody roll.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
No,
it's naff. It's really naff. Come on. I've seen better jokes than that on the Chuckle Brothers at 3:00 on BBC One.
No, I mean, I feel like that's the term low-hanging fruit. That was just hanging out there.
That's a great way of putting it.
It's just hanging out there, and you just pulled it on. You're like, oh, we'll just take this and run with it.
Yeah,
that's all it was.
My surname is Fudge. There'll be comments on this video that I will have seen 1,000 times before. I understand that. I've had to assume the name Fudge is like my entire personality, right? Because you're right, it's low-hanging fruit.
Exactly.
And be funnier than that. Funnier than that. Come on, lads.
I mean, it's just you can make out of it. I mean, people will get pissed off. Oh my God, look at him, he's in there. This is the shit that just drives his ego through the.
And he's good at it. He
is. You got to give him the credit. But the one thing I will say to this is, yes, it's all fun and games, and you're having a good time when you're winning. But next year, when we're rooted to the bottom of the table on 2 points because we've lost 36 games, and they're like, you have to go. Nobody's going to be pulling this video up. Everybody's going to be doing this. But then when he's out everybody's wanting him out the door. It's a complete 360 or 180 from where.
I tell you what, that's a wonderful point you've picked on there. I think that's a really good point, because when Sheffield United have made it to the Premier League, they've made it to the Premier League with spit and sawdust, what you call spit and sawdust managers, because you've not had a plain sailing season during 90 minutes. You have on paper in terms of results, very well done. But there's a lot of times where you've had to grind one out. And, you look at Leeds, they've steamrolled teams. They've absolutely battered teams. I don't believe Sheffield United have had many of those results this season. There's ones that they've had to dig out. And fair play to Chris Wilder. That's great. You know what I mean? Well done. You play badly might be a bit harsh, and it might sound like I'm shithousing, but to play to a lower standard than the teams around you and still get the results in, that's a sign of a good team. when you get to the Premier League, Neil Warnock weren't going to do it. Heckingbottom weren't going to do it.
Yeah.
What is Wilder going to be able to mix it with Guardiola and Arteta like he tried to? I just think that the gulf between, and a lot of Sheffield Wednesday fans specifically don't really understand the gulf between the Premier League and the
it's huge.
It is huge. It is absolutely huge. I would find it fascinating to see how Leeds get on next year unless they spend another 200 odd million quid, because they're steamrolling teams, albeit they lost Pompey today, but they're battering teams. They're just really good. You look at them and go, shit, these are good. And then to watch them now fighting for their life in 6 months, 7 months time is going to be fascinating. Do you feel, and this would be a question to you, do you feel that Chris Wilder, great championship manager, you might need to go a different direction for the Premier League? Not that could happen.
I said that when they wanted to bring him back last year. When the rumors started, when Hecky, of course, got sacked, and I've said it numerous times on these preview pods. Last year, Hecky was dealt a bad hand. You could have brought Guardiola down to manage Sheffield United. He wouldn't get more.
You weren't backed by the chairman. He checked out and all the rest of it. I completely empathize. Yeah.
And then when the rumors come about saying Wilder's coming back, I said I want somebody else. I want somebody else, because I don't want him back in the team, because he's a great championship manager. He had the one season in the Premier League where they caught the entire league with their pants down. And if COVID wouldn't have came, they probably would have finished 7th.
And that dodgy decision against Aston Villa as well, wasn't it?
How do you not turn the goal line technology on? Boy, you want to talk about two different trajectories. If that goal gets counted, Villa get relegated that season. They're not in Europe.
Yep.
I mean, it's unbelievable. But
that is one of the biggest sliding doors moments of football the last few years, I think.
Yep, I remember it. But no, I wanted somebody else, because exactly what I said. In 12 months' time, if we do get promoted, we'll be sat here with what Southampton got 9 points. Okay, we'll have 10, and he'll be gone out the door because we'll have not won any of our first 23 matches, and they're like, the fans are turning their back. The same ones right now, they're saying, "Oh my God, we're playing so great. We love this guy. Let's build a statue." Yes, I agree. Build a statue for him, but in a sense, now in 6 months' time, you're going to jump on his back and say, "Oh, he's got it wrong. He's going." But we've got any Tom, Dick, and Harry that are lighting up the third division of a team in Croatia that we're going to bring into our side that no one's ever heard of, and then we're going to say, "Here, play good in the Premier League."
That might be the interesting point, going up this time round and then having a board that will back the manager. That'd be interesting to watch. And I might be giving Chris Wilder a disservice or Paul Heckingbottom by saying that that Premier League season, and I agree. I completely agree that that the manager, whoever was in charge that season, didn't back the team enough. I just feel that there's not a lot of clean sheets in this championship season that you guys are having. Not a lot. And it's all a bit spit and sawdust is the phrase that we use over here. Whereas Leeds seem to be just steamrolling, battering. You guys give the appearance. I might be completely wrong. I watch my team, not yours, right? And feel free to batter me in the comments. You guys give the appearance of grinding one out rather than setting the tone. Am I being harsh?
No, I mean, for the whole of it, we had a lot more clean sheets when we had Harry Suter. He picked up that season-ending injury, went back to Leicester, and then I think you've only had a handful of clean sheets since the beginning of the year. I mean, yeah, and you haven't had that emphatic 3-4-0 hammering like we had a couple of seasons ago, when it felt like we were kind of just throttling teams every week. You're kind of like, okay, perfect example yesterday. You do everything and you come away and you scrape by and get a win. And then it's just like you're wanting more out of this team every single week. And then you look at Burnley hammering Luton 4-0 and just, I thought Luton, played us better. Plymouth, everybody's hammering Plymouth. Plymouth have played us the best they've played anybody this season. So I do think for most of this season we haven't scraped by.
Yeah, scrape just seems really harsh, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because I don't think you've scraped. I think you've had to switch gears, and every now and again, you had to dig one out against Portsmouth, Swansea, Hull City was
Derby,
a shitty result for you guys, right? Derby County, right? A team like Sheffield United should be absolutely ending Derby County.
Yeah.
But I understand, 3 points are in the bag. It don't really matter, come hell or high water, right? The 3 points are there. No one's really looking at goal difference at this time of the season, right? So scraping by just seems too harsh of a word. I don't think you're scraping. I think you've gone, shit, this might be a bit tougher and had to switch up one.
Yeah, it's true. I guess you can categorize it as more workmanlike type performances.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. We made a big circle all the way back.
And came back to I tell you what it is. I wanted to speak about football in the proper way rather than sound like a bitter old Wednesday fan, pissed off that you guys are fighting for the top of the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it. Well, Dan, it was a great time having you on for two of these this season.
My pleasure.
Coming Sunday, hopefully the result goes our way, not your way. But we don't want to, regardless if it goes the blue way or the red way. We hope there's no controversy where there should have been a penalty. This guy was the goal offside, because if either side of it, whatever way this goes, the other side, he was offsides, or this goal shouldn't count. There should have been a red card. He should have been on a second yellow. He should have been gone. He should have never scored the goal. But it's a derby. This stuff's always going to happen.
I agree.
I
agree. I mean, what was that? Who's your man in midfield? Is it Arblaster, right?
Yes.
The one where he went down the left-hand side into the corner and tried to knock it past the defender. It might have been nutmegged him. And then for some reason, he took a really weird dive. He just absolutely hit the deck. And we're both sides are stood there online going, that's really embarrassing. About completely two different sets. Love all that. Big fan of that. More of that. I'm embarrassed he's dived. I'm embarrassed for him. He's got nutmeg.
Exactly. Dan, before we get out of here, drop where if the other supporters want to listen to the Wednesday week pod, where they can find you.
I don't think many of your listeners are going to tune in on my show, but mind you, I did have a spike the show after you beat us. I actually during the intro went, good evening to all our new Sheffield Wednesday viewers, Sheffield United viewers that we've got this evening. But yes, it's at TWWcast. Come on for the shits and gigs, lads. Come for it.
Yeah, have fun. Definitely, despite the rivalry, the man sure talks. He has a hell of a voice. I'd put him on commentary for Sunday's game. But yeah, definitely give him a listen. As per usual, Red Hat Sheffield, Twitter, X, YouTube, wherever, Facebook, Instagram, all over the same places. Until the next preview pod, I will leave you guys with Up the Blades.